Okay, hello everybody. Okay, so last lesson we have learned about radioactive decay and also the half-life. So today we'll continue with the last part of nuclear physics, 就是我们的 nuclear energy. Okay, nuclear energy. So 一些 reaction, okay, 一些 nuclear reaction, it will produces nuclear energy, and this nuclear energy is in a very large quantity. Okay, we are able to use this nuclear energy, okay, to produce the electrical energy, okay, such as what is happening in Japan. Okay, Japan 他们有很多 nuclear power plant 的，他们就是用这些 nuclear 就是 radioactive substances produces nuclear energy and 就是好像一个发电机这样子啦。Okay, so now we will look into the nuclear energy. Okay, so atomic mass, okay, before we talk about nuclear, how does a nuclear energy is produced? Okay, we need to know something overview, okay, a little bit of an overview. Okay, so atomic mass, okay, is the mass of a neutral atom. Okay, is a mass of a neutral atom. Okay, so 我们会用 okay， 因为它有时它的 neutral atom 呢 okay, neutral sorry, what do you call atomic mass unit 呢 is not in the form of kg. 所以呢我们要 convert 它 into kg 的话，我们会用 carbon 12 as the reference 那个 element. It will be 1.66 times 10 to the power negative 27 kg. Okay, okay, so 你要记得一样东西 when the atomic mass are added or subtract, the answer should be written in the same number of the decimal places. In other words, 等下你会看到哈，如果有 involve 到 calculation 的话，它会给你很多的那个 decimal places。你在加减的时候，你的那个 calculate， 你的那个 decimal places 一定要跟着一模一样。OK， 一定要跟着一模一样，这样你 final answer 拿到的那个才是一个 correct 的 final answer。Okay, so in order to produce nuclear energy, there are two types of nuclear reaction. Okay, one is fusion, one is nuclear fusion, and one is nuclear fission. Okay, so 我通常呢都会就是教学生呢怎样分辨 fusion 跟 fission 呢 ？Okay, fusion 其实 comes from the word fuse， 就是说两个 element, okay, or 两个 atom。它们 combine 在一起 to produce a bigger nuclei at the same time releases nuclear energy. Okay, for example, whereas fission 呢，就是 fission 呢，就是还是 breaking down 的意思。fission 呢，就是说一个 larger heavier nuclei， 一个 larger nuclei, it will being split into half. Okay, it will being split into two lighter nuclei at the same time releases nuclear energy. Okay, so 我会怎样教，就是教学生怎样分辨哪一个是 fusion， 哪一个是 fission 呢 ？OK， 你就看这个字 U 跟 I。U 呢是完整的在一起，所以呢就说它是 combined 的。Two lighter nuclei combine to become one heavier nuclei at the same time produces nuclear energy. Then fission， 你看它的 I 是 separate 的。因为一个 dot 跟一个 I 这样，一个 light 这样子，所以呢 separate 的话就是说 this heavier nuclei it will be split into two lighter nuclei at the same time releases nuclear energy. Okay, releases nuclear energy. Okay. Okay, so we will look into it one by one. How does this nuclear fission and nuclear fusion, okay, produces nuclear energy? Okay, 通常你要 always 记得 nuclear fission 呢 the elements or the isotopes that undergo or what do we call as a radioactive substance that undergoes nuclear fission 呢 usually 是 uranium。你看到 uranium 的话，你就要知道说这一个 isotopes okay, or 这个 radioactive substances it will undergo nuclear fission. Okay, nuclear fission 我刚才讲嘛，一个 heavier nucleus it will split into two lighter nuclei and produces nuclear energy. Okay, so how does it split? 就像我们切苹果这样子，我们是用刀切那个苹果变成一半。可是呢，这一个 nuclear fission 呢，那个 radioactive substances it will be bombarded by a neutron. Bombard 的意思就是如果你要我就是 cut 啦，就是 cut 或切。 Okay, so this uranium radioactive substances is being bombarded by a neutron to produces two lighter nuclei and releases nuclear energy together with these neutrons, 3 neutrons. Okay, 为什么我要 emphasize on 这个 3 neutrons 的？等下我会 explain more about it. Okay, so 就像这样子，这个 neutron is being bombarded, so the uranium is being bombarded by 这个白色的 neutron, then it will split into 2 lighter nuclei. At the same time, 你看那个黄色的就是那个 nuclear energy being released, and also at the same time releases 3 new neutrons. Okay, 3 new neutrons. Okay, so 为什么我要 emphasize on 那个 3 new neutrons 呢？因为这个 3 new neutrons 呢，它会 undergo what do we call as a chain reaction. Okay, before we talk about chain reaction, this nuclear fission, it will releases a large amount of heat energy. Okay, a large amount of heat energy. Okay, at the same time releases nuclear energy. So electricity can be generated in a nuclear power station. So usually nuclear power station 呢是用 nuclear fission. 为什么不能用 nuclear fusion 呢？等下我会 explain about it. Okay, so the 3 neutrons that is being released during the nuclear fission, it will undergo chain reaction. Okay, so what do you mean by chain reaction? It is in the process of nuclear fission, it will produces 2 or 3 free neutrons. And this neutron, 因为我们知道一个那个 for a nuclear fission to occur, 那个 heavier nucleus, it will need to be bombarded by a neutron so that it will split into 2 lighter nuclei, at the same time releases the nuclear energy. Okay, 这一个 neutron that releases during the nuclear fission, it is used to strike other uranium nuclei and cause them to split, okay, to produce more fission arrangement and more neutrons. 就是说它这个是一个连贯性这样子的 chain reaction， 就是说连贯性。你用一个 neutron， okay, bombard 一个 heavier nuclei， 它 split into half already. Then at the same time releases 3个 new neutron， 这个3个 new neutron 又会去 bombard 新的不一样的那个新的那个 uranium nuclei， 所以这个 process 就会一直 continue， 这个 reaction 就会一直 continue， and this reaction is what we call as chain reaction. OK， 所以就像这样子，你看，然后它这个，那你看新的那个 neutron 就会 bombard 其他的那个 nuclear uranium nuclei to produces more nuclear fission and releases more nuclear energy. So 这个就是 what we call as a chain reaction. So chain reaction is what we call as a self-sustaining reaction in which the products of the reaction can initiate another similar reaction. Okay, so stable chain reaction 呢是一个 neutron will induce another fission. Control chain reaction 呢，就是说我们要 control， 因为你一直在 bombard， 一直在 release 更加多的 neutron 的话，可能 at the end 它会是 in uncontrolled 的一个 condition。所以呢，我们一定要 control 那个 number of neutron。Okay, so that it will being 就是你的那个 nuclear energy that is produced is being under control. 所以呢 control chain reaction 呢 usually used in 那个nuclear power plant. 如果是 uncontrolled 的话 is to produce nuclear bomb. 所以呢其实 nuclear bomb 的杀伤力非常的大，因为 is uncontrolled chain reaction. Okay, so fast moving electron, okay, are being slowed down by water and graphite. 为什么我们要把一个 fast moving neutron slow down 呢？ it is able to slow down the nuclear fission process. So less nuclear energy will be being produced. Okay, so that it will be a controlled chain reaction. Okay, it will be a controlled chain reaction. Okay, 接下来就是 nuclear fusion. Nuclear fusion 呢，刚才是一个 heavier 的 bombarded by a neutron, it will split into 2 lighter nuclei and releases nuclear energy. Where nuclear fission is 2 lighter nuclei, it will fuse together, okay, to become a one heavier nucleus, okay, heavier nucleus, and release heavier nuclei and at the same time releases the nuclear energy. OK， 所以就是 example that undergo 这个 radioactive substance that undergoes nuclear fission 呢，都是我们的 hydrogen 的 isotopes。OK， 刚才是 uranium， 现在是 hydrogen。So deuterium, tritium, it will fuse together to produce helium， 就是这个就是那个 heavier nuclei at the same time produces nuclear energy. OK， so 这个就是那一个刚才我 explain 给你听的咯。OK，one of the main example of the that involves the nuclear fusion 呢，就是 the sun，the production of the energy by the sun。OK， 如果你去看 YouTube 呢，它有很多 video 呢，就是你会看到说有东西这样进去那个 sun 那边。其实那个 process 那个情况呢是 it is undergoing nuclear fusion。Okay, so that it will produces heat energy and also enough nuclear energy for the sun to shine up. Okay, 所以你可想而知，因为太阳是 undergo nuclear fusion to produces nuclear energy 的。如果你 compare 跟 nuclear fusion 的话，当然 nuclear fusion 的 nuclear energy that is being produced by nuclear fusion 是大大的更加多过 nuclear fission 的，所以我们不能在我们这个地球里面用 nuclear fusion to produce nuclear energy. We only can use nuclear fission 而已。而且 nuclear fusion 呢，它 produce 的 heat energy 是非常的 it will be very greater than the heat energy produced by the nuclear fission. OK， 所以呢，这个就是差别 between nuclear fusion 跟 nuclear fission。Okay, so now high temperature is required so that they have enough kinetic energy to overcome the electrical repulsion between the nuclei. 所以呢，you need a very high temperature already, so it will at the same time releases very high large amount of heat energy. 所以呢 nuclear fusion 呢只能就是在那个 the shining of the sun 那边才会看到这个 nuclear fusion 的 happen。Okay, so we already know that there are two nuclear reactions to produce nuclear energy. One is nuclear fission and one is nuclear fusion. So now we need to identify or we need to determine, okay, find a way to determine the amount of nuclear energy produced 的话，我们就会用 the formula that is introduced by Albert Einstein. It will be E equals to mc squared, where the m here is the mass defect. 就是说它的那个 the changes in the mass from the reactant to product, okay, from the reactant to product, 那个 mass 呢 is the one that has been converted into nuclear energy, okay, and c is the speed of light, and we usually speed of light 是多少 3 times 10 to the power of 8 ms negative 2 and negative 1, okay, negative 1 speed of light. Okay, so 这个就是 example of how to identify, okay, determine the value of the nuclear energy using the formula E equals to mc squared. Okay, so 这一个它会给你通常这一个 question 它会给你一个 equation 的 okay, the equation that involves that relates with the nuclear fission or nuclear fusion. So 在这边我们先看 nuclear fission 先。So 这一边 arrow before 的 OK 你要 always 记得一个 equation before arrow 的就是 reactant, after arrow 的就是 product. OK, arrow 前面的是 reactant, arrow 后面的是 product. 所以呢你这个整个 OK before arrow 的我们会找到 the mass of the reactant. Then after the 就是 mass of the product. Okay, the mass of each and every radioactive substances and also the neutron will be given. Okay, will be given. 所以呢 in order to find the mass defect, okay, 因为我刚才讲嘛 E equals to mc squared, where m is the mass defect. Mass defect always it will be using reactant minus the product。无论是 nuclear fission 跟 nuclear fusion 也好，它都是用 reactant minus product 的。So mass defect always it will be mass of reactant minus the mass of product. No matter it is a nuclear fission or a nuclear fusion. And this is the one that I told you, the decimal places you must follow. And the U here is the reference element, which is the carbon 12. So you cannot just remain the mass in the unit of U. You must convert it into kg. So after you find the mass defect, 就是说你用 reactant minus the product 过后，你的 U 你要 substitute 进去1.66 times 10 to the power negative 27, so that your mass defect is in kg. Okay, 记得 in order for you to substitute the mass defect into the formula E equals to mc square, your M must be in a unit of kg. Must be in a unit of kg. Okay, then 你就放进去这个 formula, 你就找到the energy released, which is the nuclear energy produced, it will be 这个 in the unit of joule. Same goes to nuclear fusion. 你的 mass defect always it will be mass of reactant minus mass of the product. Okay, and don't forget the U you must substitute into, you must convert it into kg by times 1.66 times 10 to the power of negative 27. Okay. 这个你们可以自己再看一下 ，OK？ Okay, so the last part of the nuclear energy is the generation of electricity from nuclear fission. OK， 这一个 even 在 Malaysia 也是会有这个 nuclear power plant， 可是没有像日本这样多 ，OK， 没有像日本这样多。OK， 日本发生了什么事情？就是在2011年的时候，因为他们发生了地震。causing 就是 what we call as tsunami，OK， and this tsunami 呢，它 affect 到那个 nuclear power plant 的那个整个运作 ，OK， 导致很多的那个 nuclear fission 所产生出来的 waste， 他们不能把它就是这样子 dispose， 所以 that's why 现在呢，我们面对的问题是，现在的日本政府把这些 waste 呢，就是流出去我们的大海。Okay, that connects the whole world. Okay, 虽然说他们讲有 filter already， 你可以看得出，如果你学更加多的 nuclear physics 的话，你可以知道讲说，其实这个 nuclear fission 所产生出来的那一个 waste 还是 very harmful to the environment. Okay, so but我们先不要讲那个讲，我们先讲 focus on how does this nuclear fission okay helps in generating electricity from the nuclear power plant. Okay, 这个就是整个 overview of what is inside a nuclear power plant. Okay, 我们有这一边就是我们的这 what we call reactor vessels. Okay, the control rods. OK， 这个 reactor vessels 呢，它里面是有那个 rods which is made up of uranium 235。为什么我要 emphasize on uranium 235？因为我刚才讲了 ，uranium 235 is the radioactive substances that will undergo nuclear fission。所以在 nuclear power plant 呢，它会用 uranium 235 to undergo 这个 nuclear fission。OK，then 我们就有这个control rod。OK， 这个 control rod 其实就是 to control the fast moving of the neutron and also to control the amount of neutron， 因为我们要它的 chain reaction is being under control， OK， 所以它不会产生太多的 nuclear energy at the same time， OK， then 我们就有这个 steam reactor generator， then 我们有 turbine and this turbine is connected to the generator and this generator will produces the electricity which will be supplied to the city for the household uses. OK， 所以这个就是我们的在那个整个 what is inside the nuclear power plant。我们有 uranium fuel rod， 我们有 boron control rod is to absorb the neutron. OK， to absorb the neutron to control the number of neutron. Graphite 呢，刚才我讲嘛 ，water 跟 graphite is to control fast-moving neutron, so it will be as moderator to slow down the fast neutron. Okay, concrete shield, so that will prevent leakage of radiation, and the heat exchanger, turbine, okay, and also coil and magnets. Okay, so 在这边就是 what is happening inside the nuclear power plant. Okay, so the fission of the uranium-235 produces nuclear energy. Okay, produces nuclear energy. And 这个 nuclear energy 呢 in the form of heat. And 这个 heat 呢就会 passing to the 那一个我刚才你有看那个 steam generator 嘛 ？steam generator 里面其实是water 来的。OK， 其实里面是 filled with water 来的。Okay, then 这个 heat energy from the hot gas that is produced by the uranium-235, 它就会 boil the water into steam. And 你知道吗？如果 as we know that steam has a higher kinetic energy, and this kinetic energy will flow into the turbine, okay, to drive the turbine to turn. Okay, drives the turbine to turn. And 这个 turbine 呢就会 drive the generator to produces electricity. Okay, to produce electricity for the household users. So in other words, initially 就是有 nuclear energy from the fission and the heat carried by the hot gas to heat up the steam so that the steam will produces the kinetic energy. And this steam, it will turn the turbine, okay? And when the turbine is turning, okay, is moving, it will produces kinetic energy for the generator to produce electrical energy. OK， 这个 flow 你们一定要知道，有时考试 OK objective question 还是 structure question 的时候，他会问你这些 energy 的，所以是 from nuclear energy to heat energy to kinetic energy then to the electrical energy. OK， so these are the advantage of using the nuclear power plant. OK， you need less fuel. OK， as you know， 我们的petroleum 啦 natural gas 呢是 getting depleted. OK， 而且它需要的那个 produce 这些 natural oil 跟 petroleum natural gas 跟 petroleum 的时间是非常的长，所以我们可以用 nuclear power plant to replace it as one of the alternative way. OK, and the emission of carbon dioxide is minimal, reduces the greenhouse effect. OK, does not produce the sulfur dioxide gases that causes the acid rain, and the amount of waste from the nuclear power plant is much lesser. Okay, it's much lesser. Okay, and it's able to produce useful radioisotopes. Okay, 有些 isotopes, for example, potassium 啦，phosphorus 啦，它是 useful for 就是那些 plant， 还有就是我们的就是 checking of the body organ instead. Okay, however, it also has disadvantage. Okay, it produces waste. Okay, the production of waste is lesser, but it produces waste in the form of used fuel rods, which is very hot and highly radioactive. Okay, so expensive procedures are required to cool down the rod and also to store them. Okay, 它很贵重 它很贵，这个 cost is very high. And the hot water that is being discharged from the nuclear power plant causes thermal pollution. Okay, causes thermal pollution. That is why 在最近有一个新闻在韩国的。OK， 有很多只100千万只的那个石斑鱼 ，OK， 它死掉。它不是因为 radiation 死掉，它是因为 the hot water or the heat that is released by the nuclear power plant， 可以导致这些鱼根本都不能生存很久，所以呢，它就会就是这个 thermal pollution causes by the nuclear power plant and cause the death of the aquatic animals. Okay, and people who work in the nuclear power station may be exposed to excessive radiation. Okay, 所以呢，通常在那个nuclear power plant， 他们做工的人士呢，他们会有一个 badge 在那边的。这个 badge 呢是让他们就是知道讲说到底那个他中的 radiation 的指数有多高。如果到了一个 certain level 的话呢，他就一定要回家休养，可能1个半年过后，他又再回来才可以回来。Okay, and there is a risk of accidents. Okay, so 这个就是 what is happening 在2011年的时候，那个 tsunami happen. Okay, 因为 tsunami 它的那个水力很强嘛，它把那个 nuclear power plant 一些那个 uranium fuel rod 把它弄倒了，所以这弄倒它会 expose of the radiation. And 呢，里面工作的人呢就会 exposed to radiation, and this is a kind of accident. Okay? Okay, with this 我就已经教完我们的那个6.2 nuclear energy already. Okay, thank you very much. And please really watch this video, right? Thank you.